Hey, what's up, people? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Desmond Z, if this is the first time that you've ever seen me. So, in today's video, I will be talking about something that is very near and dear. Something that is near and dear to my heart. Friendship. I know that it's February. We talk about love. We talk about romantic relationships, and y'all buying flowers and candies, and y'all doing this, and you lovey-dovey and all that. Fine and dandy. We love love. We love the love. But one of the most important relationships I think in life is friendship. And I think a lot of times the importance of friendship gets overlooked. Every time you see a conversation on social media, everybody is who should be dating who and how much money you got and this, that, and that, and all of these other things about romantic relationships. But I also think friendship should also be a hot topic. Also, you know what? I take that a lot back. I do see conversations about friendship. I do. Sometimes they're just as bad as the ones about romantic relationships. So, you know what? I won't even say that. Let's just get into it. Boys Come First is our first book. And when I first read this book, I have to admit that I wasn't completely in love with the book. I felt like there were some things we focused too much on. In the novel, it's about this guy named Dominic who lives in New York. He gets laid off and he goes through a breakup, so he goes back home to Detroit. We all know in most books, somebody either going home or they leaving home in most novels. And Dominic is going home to, regroup, basically. So when he goes home, he meets up with his friend Remy, and he meets another friend by the name of, what was that boy's name? No. Troy is the best friend. Yeah. And then Remy is the friend he meets through Troy. And so the three of them, we see how they're navigating life and the things they're dealing with, relationship issues, situationships, and jobs, and all of these different things. And the reason why I am recommending this book or just highlighting it is because seeing a group of Black, gay, 30-year-olds is not something that we get a lot in media. So I did love the book simply for that fact. And also, it's not a bad book by any means. In this book, we talk a lot about like gentrification in Detroit. Now, I don't live in Detroit. I ain't from Detroit. Actually never been to Detroit. I can't speak on how people feel in Detroit about, how strongly they feel about the gentrification. But it was just that I feel like we talked about it a lot. It was like every page we were going on about the gentrification. But I do remember when I initially posted a review of this book, somebody left in the comments about just how strongly the residents, the citizens of Detroit do feel about this topic. In the end, I do still think this was a very good book, and it's also getting turned into a TV series. I don't know if it's a series or a movie. I hope it's a series. So I am very excited about that. Last Summer on State Street. This book is about, our main character is Felicia Fifi Stevens. Felicia Fifi Stevens. Her nickname is Fifi. And this book is focused on this main character as, she's now an adult and she's looking back on, the last summer on State Street where she grew up at and the friends that she had during that time and how that was such a pivotal summer in her life. One of the things that I find so interesting about this book is the fact that as we take a look at the lives of these four young people. I think it's four. I can't remember if it was 4 or 5, but I'm gonna just go with, yeah, it is 4. Yeah. We're taking a look at these 4 young girls as they're growing up. And what really resonated with me was the simple fact that, you grow up and you have these friends, y'all hang out all the time, you see each other all the time, and you live close by one another. But it's kind of like you still live different lives in a way because you see the things that some of the children do that others like they don't, like I wasn't allowed to do that, and I can't do that, or I can't go over there. My parents don't allow me to to do those things, and like the different boundaries and like restrictions that we have, and maybe not our restrictions kind of has a negative connotation, but it's just like our upbringing, our lives, when we leave from outside playing around the block, racing up and down the road and doing all the different things we do as kids. When we go in the house, it's a different set of rules for all of us that impact the way we do behave when we come out and we're all together. And you kind of see the foundation to how we'll be and how we'll act as we get older. And I think that's that's what I really do like when we look at stories that focus on like younger characters, especially friends, and you see how all of them, how they're raised and how they interact, and you can kind of tell where this character would end up if this were real life. Not saying that you can't change completely from how you were as a child and like completely do like, a complete turnaround from your upbringing, but most times, 9.99999% of the time, our upbringing has a major effect on how we behave as adults. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from this book. Okay, our next story is Recesses of Teeth by Toni Morrison. And this is a story, it's not a novel. It's a short story by Toni Morrison. And in this story, one character is black, one character is white. We don't know which one is which. And I'm sure most of you have heard of this. If you have not, then, that's basically the gist of it. In this novel story, these characters meet in, what is it? It's do you call it a home? You call it, basically they in the hands of the government. The CPS has came in and taken them from their homes because they have deemed their home life unfit, unwell. They shouldn't be there. For 4 months, basically, these two girls are inseparable until, they leave the home, go back to their lives, and then they see each other again years later. I thought I knew. I was like, I got this. I was like, Toni Morrison, you can't fool me. You can't trick me, girl. I know what's going on. But then I didn't know. I thought I knew what I knew, but I did not know what I thought I knew. So I was like, I don't know. I feel like I got to read it 17 more times to figure out, but then maybe I never will. But reading this, I know this video is about friendship. As kids, they basically they were friends for that time, but then obviously years go by, they no longer know each other when they meet up, and they're having these conversations where it's weird, it's awkward, and I'm dealing with things you would never know about, girl. You would never know about this. You would never know about this. So, but you don't know who's who. So it's kind of like you're trying to pick apart and see, what's going on. But what I took from this applied to an actual friendship where you guys come from different races, different backgrounds. And as a black man, you would never know what I go through in life. You would never be able to fully understand like how the world around me affects me, and the conversations that we have, and your level of emotional intelligence and social awareness can bring you closer to an understanding, which would make us have a better friendship. But if you're like one of the other of these characters, then you will never truly know like how I operate in life. And then the same can be said for the other end. Like I can see how the world treats you and see maybe the advantages, the disadvantages you have, but I will never fully be able to understand, how it feels to walk through life in your shoes. And I think there are so many friendships like that, but it just takes conversations. It takes emotional intelligence and social awareness to know exactly how life goes for each of us. There's so many different things you can take from this short story, and I do want to read this again. It is a very quick read because it is a short story. I know in the past I've said I don't like short stories. I really don't. I still stand by it. I don't really care for, I should say, like collections of short stories that present themselves as novels. Like, please don't give me a book with novel written on the front, but it's really more like short stories where these characters hardly ever interact with each other. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. I don't want it. I don't want it. The Change. I read this book back in 2022. This book is about 3 women approaching menopause or, going through menopause. And when they reach this stage in their life, they realize that they have sort of like superpowers, I guess you could say. So this is more like magical realism. It's not really fantasy because y'all know I'm not. I still haven't been able to get in my fantasy bag. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying. One of these characters controls like, nature when it comes to like plants and little ants and things running around trees and the breeze and stuff like that. Like not really Storm. The garden version, the lawn version, the backyard barbecue version of Storm. She like controlling the elements. Old girl from Sky High. What was her name? Yeah, the one that was also in The Flash. Her. Yeah. And then the other one, like her super. I don't remember. I don't remember. Read the book. Read the synopsis, okay? Because I can't remember exactly. It's been like 2 years since I read this book. But every time I see this book, I am like, oh, I enjoyed that story. I did enjoy the story. It is much longer than I feel like it needed to be. This book is almost 500 pages, and I feel like we definitely could have cut this down at a good 100. A good 100. Could have did. How many times do I gotta say it? If you ain't new here, you already know the tea. You know what's going on. Baby, give me 350, clock me out. Let my people go. I think this book did a good job of portraying adult friendship. A group of 40-year-old women who come together who don't really have like a strong history. Like their kids didn't grow up being best friends. They didn't, go to college together or anything like that. These are three women who met later in life and they bond and their friendship grows from like all the different things that they go through in life. Did I give y'all the full synopsis for it? Basically, three of them come together because once they realize that it's been a lot of bad things happening in their small town, a lot of the women have been coming up missing, being hurt, and they basically like, you know what? Our families won't go down. We won't be next. We about to figure out what the hell's going on in this town. And they realize that, also they have maybe superpowers and they use those to their advantage. Basically, that's what this book is about. The Nickel Boys. I know. I have talked about this book. I mentioned this book like almost every other video, but I did. This book is heartbreaking. This is for the people who you want a book that's gonna crush you, break your soul, break you down. That's what you want. That's what you want. Is this book on the synopsis, on the jacket, does it say this is about friendship? No, it does not, because it's not centered around the friendship, but the friendship in this book does like hold a special place in my heart. This book is based on the school. What is the name of that school? It was in Florida, based on what was that school? The Dozier School for Boys, I believe is the name of it, is in Florida. It was open for like 100 years. Basically, they did horrible, inhumane things to those boys, beat them, killed them. Like so many horrible things went on in that school in the name of like reforming them. But our main character, Elwood Curtis, he gets accused of doing something, so he gets sent to that school, and there he meets, what was his friend's name? Turner. Yeah, he meets Turner, and Turner's more like, he's a wild card type of kid. He's gonna try some shit. And then, Elwood's more timid. He's like, I don't even supposed to be here. Elwood was looking to get his life started. And they meet here, and the bond that they eventually grows between the two of them and their friendship is what helps them make this horrible situation somewhat bearable. And I think we've all had that, whether it be a job that we hate, being at school and hating it, or just any situation. We've had that one friend, that one person that just makes the whole thing bearable. They make it better. That's the only time you smile and laugh, is when you're around this person. So that's why I'm highlighting this book, is because of that. So please don't go into this, if you have never heard of this, never read it, please don't go into it thinking it's some sweet, because it ain't. The Celebrants. I recently talked about this, I want to say late last year. Could have been early. You know what? It was last year. I won't even lie and say I remember what time last year, what period, what season, because I don't remember. But I do know it was 2023 when I read this book. This book is about a bunch of late 40-year-olds who they graduated like 28 years ago, and they come up with this idea to celebrate each other, have their own real live funerals, basically, to come together and celebrate each other, because they lost one of their friends not too long before graduation or right after graduation from college. I can't remember, but I do know it was college is when they lost a friend. So they come together, they made this pact, like, you have a chance to cash in your chip. Call us when you feeling down and you just need to be uplifted. The morale need to be boosted. So give us a call. Send up the bat signal. hit me on the Kim Possible line. Dun, 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 dun. Like, let me know, okay? Celebrate each other, basically. It's like have a live funeral. We're gonna come here, say how much we love you, how much you mean to us, and you get to cash in this chip. Now, I didn't completely love this. I did not. I did not. I've said it before that this is the second book I've read by this author, and I've said it that it kind of feels like whenever I read his work, it feels like I'm reading the script to an episode of Will and Grace. Like it's like the perfect way to describe his writing to me, which is not a bad thing because, like I said before, every time I mention it, I enjoy Will and Grace. I think it's a funny show for its time. I just think this was one of the more episodes. Like I really enjoyed the Guncle. Like the Guncle was like a really good book to me. I did enjoy that. But this one is more of one of the, this was a cool episode, more like a filler type of episode. And so yeah. But like I said, like I always say, just because I didn't completely was over the heels for it, you may read this and be like, you pick up on some things like, oh, Desmond, what the fuck were you talking about? This was 5 stars, knocked it out of the park for me. So yeah, that's also another reason why I'm highlighting this, because I like the premise of it. I do enjoy like the premise of like why these friends are getting together. Celebrate your friends. Celebrate your friends. Celebrate your friends. Call your friends. Text your friends. Maybe don't call them because don't nobody pick up the phone these days. Text them though. If you text me. All together now, this book is about a billionaire, a billionaire. Give me some money. Help the needy. Okay? We have Robbie, who is a reclusive billionaire. He calls all his friends. They've been friends for years now. Blair, Blair, Kat, and Wade. Wade is basically a down on his luck author. He's trying to get his second book out. The first one flopped, and he's basically about to be let go because not let go. No, his agent was actually really good to him. Yeah. But the publishing word is basically letting him know, we don't want your shit. Switch it up, because all you want to do is write about, write fan fiction for the Beatles, basically, is what you want to write about. And then we have Kat, who was working as an executive producer or something on this talk show and was sleeping with the host. And she's now being, going through a breakup with this woman and being ghosted, and her life is in disarray. That's not a spoiler. It's basically like that's the whole setup for the thing. So don't think it's a spoiler. And then we have Kat, who is now a mom of twins, and she's married. But she's like, what happened to my life? I was an artist. I was drawing. I was painting. I was doing this. I was that girl. But now all of a sudden her life is just humdrum, and like she feel like her husband don't try no more. She got the kids running her ass ragged, and she just don't know what's going on. She don't know what's happening. Okay, so Robbie invites them here. Robbie invites them to this beach house that they all used to go to pretty much every year, and to break some news to them and rocks their world. Their lives change. Old wounds open. And they're discussing their past and they're discussing their past and just trying to see where everything went wrong, how they can actually truly be friends again, because they've just been coasting. And I think we've all been at that point in our life where we're just kind of coasting in our friendships. It doesn't feel like you're actually friends. It's just like you're just passing, 2 ships passing in the night, maybe 3 or 4, depends on how big the group is. And they want to actually be active in each other's lives again. We don't have to hang out every weekend. We don't have to talk every day. Life is real, baby. Life is real, and it be beating our ass a lot of the time. But we also have to make sure we keep those connections if they're worth keeping, because some of them ain't worth keeping, baby. So yeah, they try to make this conscious decision to like be in each other's lives, and that's what this whole trip is about, among other things that I don't want to give away because I don't want to spoil the book. And that is it for this video. Those are some of the books that I wanted to highlight that focus on friendship, one of the most important relationships, I feel like. We all need that one. We need 1 or 2. You need 1 or 2 good ones to get you through life. That's what you gotta have. And it might not even be, it could be your brother. It could be his cousin. Because those count too. Sometimes the lines blur, and it ain't just that's not just my brother. That's my motherfucking dog. I can call him anytime I need. Or that's your cousin. Y'all talk all the time, and it kind of feels more like that's your best friend versus just your cousin. So it don't have to be just some random you met down to the college or over at the job. It could be a relative. We allow that. We allow that here. But let me know down in the comments if you have some other ones that I didn't mention. And yeah, that's it. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below, like I said. Subscribe if you are not subscribed. And I'll see you in my next one.